Big Herc916, positivity, motivation. Man, it's a beautiful morning out here in Arizona. I'm in my backyard with the doves, listening to them do their mating chants. Yeah, man, what's your plan? Do you have a plan of execution? And do you know how you're going to go about putting that plan of execution into play? The reason I say that is because a lot of people are habitual procrastinators. They talk about doing something, but they never act on it. See, that's the big thing about putting plans into action, is actually executing those plans. You can have a lot of plans, a lot of ideas, a lot of things you want to do in life, moves you want to make, but until you actually move on those ideas and make them a reality, they're only ideas. And they exist on paper or in your mind. You know, I wrote my first book when I was 21. I'm gonna pull it out for you real quick. Let's see if you can see that. Resistance Responsive Training. I wrote this book when I had just left Irvine Securities, where I used to sell natural gas partnerships for a securities firm. And I had just found out that they had let me go because I was ex-felon, and you can't be a felon and sell securities legitimately with a Series 23, and I couldn't get my Series 7 at the time. I was 21. So I wrote this book, and my game plan was to market it in the fitness industry and use it as a business card. So I had the idea, took it from my head, put it on paper, and I wrote the book. Now, I didn't really market the book as I had planned because I got caught up in some other things, but I sent a copy to my mom, and you know, in my journey, you know, I forgot about it, things got misplaced, things got lost, but she kept a copy. So the copy I have now, I just went through, cleaned it up, added some pictures to it, and republished it, and it's still legit, man. But I had that plan 20 years ago, and it's still relevant, and I've sold thousands of copies of this book. And that's one of the steps, though, is actually taking it from the third dimension, putting it in the fourth dimension, which is the actual physical plane, and capitalizing on something you have in your head as an idea. Now, I wrote another book. Well, I wrote several other books while I was in the pen, but one of the books I wrote during a lockdown was this book right here. It's urban erotic novel, you know, fantasy book. I wrote this in the pen, and gave me something to do that was positive while I was in there, besides, you know, studying the law and helping people with their court filings and stuff like that. I wrote that book during a lockdown, and what I used to do is let other inmates read chapters from the book to critique it. And, you know, guys in prison are some of the biggest critics out there, because a lot of guys have a lot of anger. They're mad at the world, so they have no reason to give you any props. And as I shared the chapters of this book and was getting props back on it, I knew I had fire. So I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna go ahead and publish Better When I Hit the Block. That's gonna be one of my tools. And I, got out, had somebody go through and re-edit it for me, and worked on some artwork and put the book together, and have been selling copies of this book. I've also sold thousands of copies of this book. And I always tell guys out here, if you need something to get it started with you and your girl, start reading chapters of the book, and you will for sure get the bust some cheeks. But yeah, man, it's just another idea I had in my head that I executed. I'm not about a bunch of talking, and if you want to be a person who puts plans into action, at some point you got to stop talking. You got to just do. And even with Bedroom Gangster, I mean, man, it's going on 15 years now that I wrote this book back then, and I've got a couple other books I'm actually working on. But eventually I'll make this book a TV series, Bedroom Gangster. I'll turn it into some type of show on one of these cable streaming networks or something. But I had a plan, man. I just didn't sit in prison, playing dominoes, watching BT or sports, or gambling, or telling war stories. I actually focused on things that I could put into play when I got out, so that I had a long-term goal, and some people don't see the long hustle. They just think about the short hustle. The short hustle was working in there in the factories, in prison, getting $300 some a month, thinking you're balling because you're prison balling because you got a full locker. The long hustle is being self-employed in prison, which is a hell of a hustle, which is what I did, and thinking long-term that if I invest whatever time I'm doing in here on myself, when I do get out of prison, I'll have a major hustle. And I'm still self-employed, and thinking long-term. And long-term is going to be a series on TV or a streaming network. Book deal. I got my autobiography coming out. Got another urban erotic novel that I wrote that will be dropping soon. And got a couple other, movie ideas and book things that I've been working on. But it's all about executing your plans. There is no excuses in life. You can sit around and talk about how rough your life was, and I share my story, but there's always stories out there that are even more dramatic, and it's not trying to compare or do tit for tat, but you just got to move forward, man, and you got to make it happen. I had just seen a clip from Tommy Davidson's story on Vlad, and I mean, this is a guy, one of the funniest men alive, who was one of the major stars on Living Color, and this guy was abandoned at birth, as a baby, and found in a trash can. Imagine that, man. I mean, and look where he came from and what he accomplished, and you got people sitting around complaining. I mean, this guy was found in a trash can by a white woman who raised him, and he didn't even know he's black until he was 5, 6 years old, and confronted by some other black individuals, kids that beat him up for being a cracker lover. Come on, man. And then they said he said he was molested. It's like, how rough can life be? Let's get past and own this adversity that tries to hold us back. But Tommy Davis, man, I mean, God, shout out to you, brother. You are inspiration. I just seen the little clip, and it's like, wow, this guy, he has a story to tell. But, at the end of the day, execute your plan. Don't make any excuses. Get past your adversity, your challenges, and man, enjoy your life, man. Own it, man. Enjoy your life and stop letting life beat you down. Stop letting it beat you down, man. Big Herc916.
Don't forget to stop by the Big Herc916 store and pick you up a beanie, or maybe a sticker for your car, or a sticker for your laptop, or read one of the many books that I've authored. You know how we do it over here. Big Herc916. Lockdown's over. Get your yard time in. Exclusively at FreshOutSeries.com.
Hello, I'm Big Herc916. Contact me for life coaching and motivational speaking.